Your hair has a length right now. You chose it or you didn't. Maybe it just grew. Maybe you cut it last week. Either way, it feels like a personal decision. Aesthetic, private, yours. Here's what nobody tells you. The default human state for the vast majority of our 300,000 years was long hair. Not as a fashion choice, not as a statement, just long, because it grew. And cutting it required a tool. And for most of human history, the question wasn't, should I grow it long? It was, do I have a sharp enough blade and a reason worth the effort? For about 290,000 of those 300,000 years, the answer was usually not really. Short hair, the kind that reads as neat, professional, put together, is not the natural state. It is a recent cultural convention, and it was invented almost entirely by armies. We think of long hair as natural and short hair as groomed. It turns out that's exactly backwards. Long hair was the result of the body doing something sophisticated. Short hair was the result of a general trying to solve a lice problem. Long hair in the ancient world was not without cost. Unmanaged long hair in a pre-modern environment is a parasite habitat. Lice, ticks, and other parasites live and breed in hair. In a world without insecticides or fine-tooth combs, heavy infestation could cause chronic illness, anemia, and in extreme cases, death. This was a genuine health risk, not theoretical, observable. Ancient humans could see, directly, the difference between someone whose hair was maintained and someone whose wasn't. And yet, humans grew long hair anyway. Not just some humans, virtually all human populations, across all climates, all continents, in all periods of documented prehistory. Venus figurines from 25,000 to 35,000 years ago show detailed hairstyling. Egyptian tomb art from 5,000 years ago shows elaborate hair. Indigenous populations on every continent, documented by early anthropologists, showed long hair as the cultural default. This is not random. A biological trait that persists across all populations, despite real costs, is doing something important. Evolution doesn't keep expensive traits around unless they're earning their keep. Humans are the only primate with hair that grows indefinitely past a functional length, covering the one part of the body where most other primates have the least. Something about long head hair was so useful that evolution kept it. Parasite risk and all. So what was it doing? Human scalp hair is unique among primates. It grows continuously and indefinitely, unlike body hair, which has a fixed growth cycle. This appears to be an evolved feature, not an accident, and the reason is signaling. Long, thick, lustrous hair is an honest biological signal. It requires sustained good nutrition to produce, absence of chronic illness, a low parasite load, a functional immune response. You cannot fake a full head of healthy long hair the way you can fake a smile. The body produces it or it doesn't. And what it produces is a direct readout of the body's internal state over the preceding months and years. Two people in an ancient group. One has thick, long, glossy hair. The other's is thin, dull, breaking at the ends. No words are exchanged about this. No one explains what they're reading, but everyone in the group has learned, over a lifetime of observation, what those two different heads of hair correlate with. The first person has been well-fed, healthy, largely free of the parasites and illnesses that degrade hair quality. The second person hasn't. The hair is a medical report, written on the outside of the body, readable to anyone who looks. Humans lost most of their body hair as an adaptation for endurance running in hot conditions. Sweating across a hairless body is extraordinarily effective for cooling. But the skull, which houses the brain and is directly exposed to equatorial sun, retained and extended its hair. A full head of thick hair. Across virtually every documented ancient human culture, hair functions as a primary social encoding system, marking group membership, status, life stage, mourning, ritual transition, political affiliation. Ancient Egyptians shaved children's heads and left a single lock, the side lock of youth, as a coming-of-age marker. Ancient Greek men cut their hair as a sign of mourning. Samson's hair in the Hebrew Bible is explicitly coded as the source of his strength. Mesoamerican cultures used elaborate hairstyling as status markers, visible from a distance in battle. The cutting of hair as a ritual of submission or defeat appears across dozens of unconnected cultures worldwide. This universality, hair as social code, appearing independently across every human culture ever studied, strongly suggests it is not culturally learned. It is evolutionarily prepared. The human brain is pre-wired to read hair as social information. An ancient human approaches a group they have never met. Before a single word is exchanged, they read the hair. Length, style, condition, modification. Each tells them something. Whether this person is in mourning, whether they have recently undergone a ritual transition, whether they belong to a group that marks its members this way. This information takes less than a second to process. No language required. The hair is a broadcast. The human brain evolved to receive it. Hair wasn't a fashion choice. It was a flag. Ancient humans read it the way we read a uniform, instantly, accurately, without being taught how. Across documented traditional cultures worldwide, human hair was used as a practical material. Cordage and rope. A single strand of human hair can hold roughly 100 grams. Twisted into cord, considerably more. Stuffing for insulation in cold climate clothing and sleeping equipment. Filter material for water and food preparation. Wound dressing. Ancient surgical texts document hair used as wound binding in field conditions. Net making and weaving material. These uses appear independently across cultures that never had contact with each other, which means the practical utility of human hair as a material was discovered empirically, multiple times, by different people on different continents, finding the same answer. A group on the move 40,000 years ago. Someone's carrying strap breaks. They need cordage. Now, with nothing around but what they have on them. Someone reaches up and pulls several long strands from their head. Twisted together, the strands hold. Not perfectly, not forever, but enough to fix the strap and keep moving. The hair wasn't planned as emergency cordage. It was just there, always there. The body grows it continuously, at no additional cost beyond what was already being produced. In a world where every material resource requires effort to find or make, a head of long hair is a small but persistent supply of something useful. A head of long hair wasn't just a signal or a shield. It was a supply depot, available at all times, requiring nothing to maintain except the body that was already there. Here's the part that makes 290,000 years of long hair end in a single century. Roman legions mandated short hair. Practical battlefield reasons. Lice management in close-quartered camps. Helmet fit, the same beard grab point problem we've talked about before. Medieval knights required short hair under helmets. But the decisive moment came in the 18th and 19th centuries. Standing armies, large conscript forces living in dense barracks conditions, had a catastrophic lice problem. Lice spread through long-haired populations in barracks with devastating speed. The solution was administrative. Regulate the hair. Napoleonic armies enforced it. The British Army enforced it. Every major European military enforced it. Then the 20th century ran the experiment at scale. 2 world wars took a significant fraction of the male population in the industrialized world through military service with mandatory short hair, then returned them to civilian life with the habit already installed. Short hair became associated with discipline, competence, and professional seriousness. Because the institutions that enforced it were the most powerful social institutions of the era, the association stuck. 2 world wars and 2 centuries of military grooming standards installed a preference that now reads as natural. It isn't. It's a lice management protocol. Humans had long hair for 290,000 of their 300,000 years. Short hair is not the natural state. Short hair is what happened when armies needed to solve a public health problem in dense troop concentrations. And the men who survived those armies came home and taught their sons what normal looked like. You're back at that mirror. Your hair. Whatever length it is right now. If it's short because military institutions decided short hair was easier to manage. And 2 world wars spread that decision across most of the industrialized world. And the association between short hair and competence hardened into a norm that now reads as natural. If it's long, you are, whether you intended it or not, wearing the biological default of the species. The same hair length that ancient humans wore for 290,000 years, doing the same jobs it always did, signaling health, providing protection, encoding identity, available as material. Neither choice is more natural than the other. One has 290,000 years of history. The other has 200 years of military procurement. You cut your hair because a general decided short hair was easier to maintain on a battlefield. Your ancestors grew it long because their body was trying to tell everyone around them something important. The signal is the same. The audience just changed.